Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Horological Happy Hour. I'm Rob.
I'm Justin.
And we're really glad to be here with you today. Spring is in the air.
Finally.
Things are thawing out here in Boston.
We made it.
Yep. And we have a fantastic show in store for you all.
We got a lot of good stuff for you guys. As usual, we went ahead and picked 5 of our favorite new arrivals from this week. 4 out of the 5 are actually in stock and available for you guys, so that's a nice change. We also are going to talk a little bit about the different ownership groups that exist in the watch world, whether or not we care, whether or not you should care. And we're gonna have a little bit of fun with some of the comments that we've that have racked up on these videos over the past 6+ months. So
yeah, we read them all.
We do.
We read all the comments, whether it's the right thing to do or not. We do it. And part of the reason we do this show and the reason we keep doing this show is that we really enjoy the connection with the community out there. And so we thought we would bring some of that to right here on the live.
Yeah, and then if we have time actually as well, we're going to chat about the Pepsi GMT and what the hell is going on with that watch, all the craziness surrounding that in the lead up to Watches and Wonders. So let's make this a happy hour, Rob.
Let's, and we have a lovely gift from a good friend of the show and EWC. Mm-hmm. So today we're actually drinking some tequila. We have a Don Julio 1942.
It's a, Robert, what kind of tequila is it?
Oh, it did tear. I was so worried that this was not going to tear. And
Rob was worried that he wasn't going to be able to open the bottle, was going to struggle on camera with that paper tab. But
right off.
I don't know the last time I drank straight tequila, so let's see how this goes. But we're getting spicy.
A very nice nose.
We're getting spicy with things. So all right.
Can I pour from this bottle without making a mess?
Oh yeah, you didn't practice this part.
Is big.
Come on, drum roll. We'll have to add something in post.
Not a drop.
Amazing, Robert. Beautiful.
Perfect pour.
Excellent job.
That's for you.
All right, while you pour, actually, let me get a little sniff here.
Ever so gingerly.
That smells really nice, actually.
The weight distribution here. Whoa.
Yeah, there we go. Now we're talking. Rob's getting loose tonight.
That's a little too healthy there, but that's all right.
Cheers, Rob.
Actually, it's a pretty bottle. Hit me. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers to all of you
Appreciate
out there.
you joining us. Like I said, this is our 6-month anniversary of the new relaunch show. So thank you to you guys for joining. Thanks to our production team, who's been a key part in all of this. So there we go.
Oh, that's lovely. That's really nice. Actually, I am going to have to move this because it's going to get in the way of the watch cam.
Watches. Let's go.
Let's do it.
First up, a killer Patek. So we've had this for like a week or something, and we've all fawned over it. This is the Patek 5712 1R. And
we have not seen many of these.
Nope.
This has been out now for a few years?
It came out in 2022, I believe.
Wow, no way.
Yeah.
That tells you how few of these we've seen. I thought this was a more recent release than this.
Hold on, let me consult my notes that people love to give me a hard time about because I don't know everything about every one of the thousands of watches that we have in our inventory. Yes, 2022 it was released, and I actually looked as well because the full rose Nautilus, just the 5711 1R, so just the rose gold version. We've only had a handful of those as well. So we've sold hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Nautilus, but the 5711 and the 5712 in the rose gold with the brown dial is quite rare.
Those two, so there's two things about this watch. One is the 5712 is very close to the same profile as the 5711. It's super thin.
Yes.
And so you get that same lovely melts on your wrist kind of thing. The fact that they went and did this with the rose with the brown dial, I think is such a home run because that 5711 rose brown is so very nice.
I like
that better than the steel, and I like this better than the steel as well.
It's so funny that you say that because when I was thinking it through, the 5712 is my favorite variant of the Nautilus full stop. I just love the asymmetry. Visually, I think it's stunning. It just has that added interest. And I love the steel blue, but I actually think that I prefer this rose brown now to just your classic one. there's something so special about it, that combo. It's so rare for Patek too. Again, that rose brown is not something that they normally do.
No, you get the new bracelet with the micro link adjustment.
The new deployant clasp
so that you
as
can
well.
pull that out of hair like that, which is so smart. Finally, you can fine-tune the fit. You get Patek's best movement with the 240 micro rotor, the new clasp. Like, this is everything all at once. The price is also everything all at once, but it is like, it's legitimately hard to get.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we would see this watch a lot more.
Right.
So I actually think it's pretty valid.
So going back to real quick about the 240, that, you know, we talk about the 240 all the time. You know, it's Patek's workhorse. It's been in everything. And I just wanted, like, I didn't know off the top of my head of what year Patek introduced the original 240, which obviously, you know, this is the 240 PS.
Like without any complications.
Without any complications. Do you know when that was introduced?
I thought, because I know that the 3940 was the first perpetual version of that watch, and that was 1985. So I thought that it was 1980.
No. 1977.
No way.
Yeah, and it was in an ellipse. It was a 3483 or something like that. That the 240, that was its initial debut, and then obviously Patek went ahead and, you know, like you said, added a perpetual module, added the small second. Like, there's obviously a million variations now.
Small seconds. They did the date around the outside in the 6000. They've done obviously this moon phase power reserve. They did the world time.
Yep.
They've done so many things on that movement because it's so incredibly slim that it's easy to build on top of.
Yeah, that micro rotor, it's just perfect.
It's incredible to think that that is almost a 50-year-old caliber now.
It's a 49-year-old caliber, and it's still going strong. And like any other brand or, you know, any other company, you know, that was making something that has remained essentially unchanged for almost 50 years. Like, they've obviously updated materials here and there and whatnot, but like, they just nailed it in 1977, and there you go. Like, it's perfect.
It's amazing. And I love the fact that, like, you know, they put this in the 3940, and it fits a 36mm watch perfectly. But then, you know, this is a 40mm Nautilus, depending upon how you measure it. There's lots of different ways to measure
technically 40
these,
mil,
but in terms of the actual case and then dial and bezel, it's a 40mm watch, and the subdials and the power reserve are exactly where they're supposed to be. There's no compromises about using like an old movement in a modern watch because it's too small and you have to put like Breguet numerals or something around the outside to fill in the dead space. Like, this is perfectly proportioned for this watch, which remains perfectly proportioned. Look at that. I wish I'd actually thought about this, but this jacket and this watch are perfect.
Somebody will have something to say about your style choices, Rob. Don't worry, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that.
Of course they will, but that's it, man. So rose gold, brown, especially with summer coming up. This is such a great summertime, like wear it all the time kind of thing.
So like Rob mentioned, you know, the price is also everything, everywhere, all at once. We're listing it for $269. So you got to pay the price. Pay the cost to be the boss, but it's
never heard that.
It's worth it. That's an awesome piece. And somebody did call me out for looking at the chat and not responding. I'm sorry. There's a lot going on over here. I do my best to keep an eye out for fun comments, but
which is awesome. I love, and I was looking at some of the live chat replays. I love the fact that you guys end up discussing things amongst yourself, like while we're doing this, like. That also, the fact that we can bring people from the community together in a different kind of format like that, I think is fantastic.
Yeah, we got Ben over there looking at the comments as well. So if anybody has anything extra spicy to say, Ben will pipe in and let us know that we need to engage.
So back at the beginning of the week, we listed a 38mm Journe platinum case, Réserve de Marche, with the yellow gold dial and the brass movement. And we had intended to have this on the show.
Yeah.
However, that watch is now gone.
This is, like, you guys, we try to communicate how crazy things are here. Rob and I literally wait to the last possible moment to start prepping for the show.
Which the crew, they love it.
Yeah.
They love it.
To get all the roll-ins and all the imagery ready. So by Tuesday afternoon, we try to pick our list of 5 pieces so that by Thursday at 5, we can have everything ready to go. Well, Tuesday at 5 rolled around, and the 38mm Octa Réserve de Marche with the gold dial that we had listed on our website that we're going to talk about today is already gone. Like, it was gone in a absolute flash. But
so we found another one.
Yeah. Luckily, we have another incredible piece for you guys.
So we pulled out another one.
So this is another 38mm. It's an early 38mm FP Journe Octa Réserve de Marche. This has a pink gold salmon colored dial with like absolutely killer patina that you guys will see in the photos that we're going to run. This is the only one that is not, of these 5 watches, that's not on our website yet, but it will be coming soon. We're going to be asking $650 for it, so it's I mean, the Journe market is completely bananas right now. But we're really, like, we consider ourselves lucky to have pieces like this coming through this, coming through the shop that we're able to kind of share with you guys and show off.
So this is an 02. So very early for Journe production, and it has a fantastic patina to the dial where I'm trying to show it. It's really difficult, but like you can see, it's aged, it's matured. It's like a really nice old whiskey or an old tequila.
It's the beauty of this particular era of Journe. These gold dials, they all age slightly differently. Some of them, honestly, you get a little bit of like oil transfer on the dial that then creates these really interesting patterns and whatnot. This one just has some beautiful fade to it, which you can kind of see there, around the edges. It's a little bit lighter.
Like
it's
a
little
reverse vignette kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like an ombre almost, but honestly, like all of these, if you look at, even 2 that are exactly the same and one after the other in the serialized production, they're going to look totally different because they age in such unique ways.
And I think that ultimately is what makes this a special watch, is the fact that no 2 of these are the same, right? It's kind of like when you look at cloisonné enamel dials and things like that. There's always going to be a degree of uniqueness to this. It's not going to be the same as any other one. If you had 3 collectors in a room all wearing Journe from this era, they're all going to be different. And I think that's what really makes a watch like that become more than the sum of its parts.
Totally.
Right? Like it's very interesting because the brass movement thing is really funny since everybody makes their movements out of brass.
Right.
That is not special. That is actually less special than the current rose gold movement. So why does everybody make a big fuss about the brass movement joins? Because of where they fall in the chronology.
Well, and also it was for a short period of time. It was about a 5-year spread, late 90s to 03, 04 kind of time frame. And across the entire, Journe was obviously, still is, but in this era, even lower production numbers than they're making now, which, if you can even believe it, and across all models that use the brass movement, there's roughly 2,000 total that have brass movements. So for
that's less than I would have guessed.
Yeah, I was honestly surprised as well. So for a brand that makes a very small number of pieces even to this day, this is a tiny fraction of their production from that era, or of their overall production that comes with that rhodium-plated brass movement. Yeah. And like Rob mentioned, now Journe moved to rose gold for all of his movements, and part of it back in the day as well was to keep costs down.
Right. I mean, what a different thing. He was selling the subscription watches in order to fund the brand and start building his own house. Because obviously he had done fantastic work before that.
Of course.
Right? With Halter and Flageolet when they did those movements, and that clock he made for Breguet that went to auction that was like incredible.
Yeah.
So, super talented guy. And to think about like getting in on the ground floor back then and buying one of these watches is just very cool.
Yeah.
So I love history and I love the story behind the watch.
Same.
And I feel like that's why people are so into this now, because there is no collector base as fervent as Journe.
God, it's insane. Ridiculous.
And what better to completely go nuts for than like something like that? And this platinum with the rose gold, everybody goes for the yellow. Everybody thinks the yellow gold is the signature, but I actually, the warmth and the richness of that to me, I like it. I really like it.
It's very cliche at this point, but every single Journe from this era, and honestly the modern ones as well, are really a piece of art that you can strap onto your wrist. Like, there's a reason why people describe the watches that way, because it's true. Like I said, it is totally cliche, but they really are unique pieces of art that you can live with every day. So.
One last thing, because I know we got to move on.
Go ahead.
But the thing that amazes me the most about FP Journe is that he came into this 200-year-old industry, call it 2000 with like his brand and the subscription watches and stuff. He came into a 200-year-old industry and right from the start created a design language that wouldn't confuse it with anything else.
Right. Right.
It's completely unique. You see a Journe, you know it's a Journe.
Totally.
It doesn't look like a Patek. It doesn't look like a Longa. It doesn't. Well, Longa didn't exist then either. Barely.
Yes, they did.
But doesn't look like a Vacheron. Doesn't look like an AP. Like it was his own thing.
I mean, right down to the typography.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
everything
what I
about
mean. The fonts, the screws on the dial, everything.
The rope knurled crown and everything. Like everything about it is very, very distinctive in the best way possible.
Not many people get it right like that.
No.
So you got to give them the credit.
Yeah.
All right. Now we move on.
All right. Next up. So somebody giving us a hard time already about the Daytona that we're going to talk about right now. So
why? Please tell us in the comments.
He says, "Oh please God, let's not talk about the Daytona. I'm having dinner later." So honestly, you're wrong. I know who you are and I love you, but you're wrong. This is like I wouldn't even call this a guilty pleasure watch because I unashamedly love this watch.
There should be no guilt.
That's what I'm saying. There
should be no guilt.
This is the reference 116598 SACO Daytona, otherwise known as the Leopard.
And please, I know that you are a scholar of this watch.
Yeah.
And so I would ask you to kindly share with us the story.
Okay.
Behind the Leopard. It fits.
Oh, hello.
It fits.
It may be apocryphal because I'm not entirely, I don't know how much of this is legend and how much is true, but this watch was a result of the era when a man named Patrick Heiniger was the CEO of Rolex. He was CEO from the early 90s through I think like 04, 05, somewhere around that range. He, during that time, was when kind of all of the more esoteric gem set, off-menu pieces kind of were born. And the story with the Leopard specifically is that it was created for and inspired by his longtime girlfriend named Nina Stevens. And please feel free to Google Patrick Heiniger, Nina Stevens. Nina, I'm sure she was a lovely person. She looks like Victoria Gotti. Lots of fake tan, fur, like leopard print everything, dripping in diamonds.
And I think that's why, even if it is apocryphal,
it makes sense.
It really, it checks out.
Yes.
Like, you look at that photo
of the two of them.
long leather coats and stuff like that, and you're like, that really does have enough truth to it that, it's got to be right. But, I've said so many times that I have a strong appreciation for anything that doesn't take itself too
100%.
Seriously, because life is short, and it's definitely not long enough to worry too much about what other people think. And this watch is it in a nutshell.
Famously, Nick Cage owned, I'm not helping my case at all here, by the way, but famously, Nick Cage owned one of these probably before the government seized it. Steven Tyler of Aerosmith was known to own one of these, which I don't care about. So to be honest, the first time that I experienced this watch was years ago at our old location, and Jacek Kasubik from now Tropic Watch and everything, he was visiting us one day, and he walked in wearing one of these. I had never seen one before. And I was instantly just what the hell is that? And this was 10 years ago now when, honestly, I don't even know how, there wasn't a lot of information about this out there.
There wasn't a lot, and it was one of those watches that, you looked at that and you saw it maybe on Instagram or something, and you thought, that's really cool. One day I'd love to see one of those in person. Because they didn't really trade.
No.
And even now, they don't really trade
We've
that
had a
much.
Few. We've had a few, yeah. But it's basically, I hope there's somebody out there who is as madly in love with this watch as I am, but I really see it as almost like the watch dealer's watch who has seen everything, and I've said it a million times, but I have deviant taste when it comes to watches these days. It has to be weird and it has to be totally out there for me to get excited about it because we see everything. So when somebody walks in with that, you know that they don't take themselves too seriously. You know they're having fun and you know that they love it. You're not wearing that to show off because you kind of look like an idiot wearing it, but it's so awesome.
And it's not overpriced.
No.
I think that watch, we're right around 100?
Yeah, we're at just under, 99.5 I think.
That's if you look at what other watches that people will pay $100,000 for, you look in that price segment, that represents value at 100K in my opinion. To get off-menu Rolex and something as unique and interesting, like what a risk as a company.
Totally.
Like, I don't feel like that was the kind of thing where he was like, let's make a Leopard Daytona. And everybody was like, great, that sounds awesome. There's no way. I guarantee you people were like, you're insane, especially the Swiss.
They were probably all grumbling.
You're insane. We cannot make this. And he was like, we're making it. And he was like, we're not making it.
Nina needs it.
Exactly. But trust me, we're making it.
Shockingly, it did not sell well. Like, of course it didn't sell well. And that's why, that's one of the reasons why there are so few of them that do trade hands now.
It was ahead of its time.
Well,
that's all there is to it.
The other thing I wanted to say quickly was that even now, to get, Rolex calls them cognac-colored sapphires on the bezel there, and to get that color, either diamond or sapphire, you know, there's that newer Daytona that looks like a jack-o'-lantern that has the same color. But honestly, like Rolex does not use that color stone very often. You much more, you know, often see, you know, red, blue, and diamonds and whatnot.
But you don't see orange sapphires like this.
No. It's really unusual, and it's just different. It's just fun. Like, just don't take this hobby. It's a hobby, and you should have fun. Like, don't take yourselves too seriously. And like
doing it with yellow gold. The fact that they didn't do it on white gold and stuff, like I really love that. I think it's incredible.
It's insane. And the other part too, it's the precursor to like the new Tiger, the
Eye of the Tiger,
the Eye of the Tiger. You know, both the white, the yellow. You know, you had that giraffe model. Like there's crazy stuff.
I think this is the watch that put gem set Rolex into the mainstream. I think this is the watch that kind of was the genesis.
I disagree with you there.
No way.
Into the mainstream?
Yeah, this is the watch because of guys like Nick Cage and guys like Steven Tyler and famous people wearing this watch.
Yeah.
That is what kind of brought this conversation there. Because previous to that, you know, who was the guy who bought like a string dial date back in the day?
I honestly have no idea.
Like, you know, you would hear about like, you know, you'd hear a lot of people talk about the Masterpiece, like those Pearl Masters that were all blitzed out and stuff. But like,
awful.
Yeah, but that was like a watch. I still haven't seen one of those.
No.
Right? They almost don't exist. But I think this watch was what really moved that conversation from it being like this big secret of like off-menu Rolex to being something that like people knew about and people were into. And I think this was a really important watch historically in that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, off-menu.
What?
I will never say it again. So that's
what was that?
He gets one. He gets one.
It's on the cameras. 3 cameras.
No, off menu meant off menu when this watch came out.
Yeah.
Now off menu means it exists.
Everybody
knows it exists, but you can't get it basically. So
this might make me a tequila drinker.
It's really good.
I'm really like even just like bringing it up and getting the nose from these lovely little tulip glasses.
I do like some smoky mezcal for the summertime, so we'll have to get that going when it gets warm. All right, moving right along because we are taking our sweet time today.
Yeah,
next up, we have a killer de Bethune. And to be honest, de Bethune is not a brand that really speaks to me normally. There are a couple models that I do enjoy. For the most part, I'm not a huge fan. They're too big. They're a little bit too funky for me. This one, though, I think it's like the perfect balance of kind of like the weird, funky de Bethune design language in the right size with the right elements that really works for me. This is the DB28XS Starry Seas.
So we did not think about the fact that this was going to be darn near impossible to show on camera, but we're going to do our best. So one of my favorite de Bethunes of all time is the DB25 Starry Various.
Yep, agreed.
And I think this takes that watch to the next level.
I like this better.
I really like the DB28 case. And I'll show this when we get back on the live feed here because it has the movable lugs.
The articulating lugs,
Which to me is the coolest thing in the world because they are built super low profile. It's not obnoxious. It's not like in your face. But it's enough that when you strap it on your wrist, you're like, whoa.
Well, the other thing,
it feels like a custom fit.
Specifically about this one, so this XS, this is the reduced size case. This is 38.7 millimeters versus 43 for the regular DB28.
So like, you strap that on and it's just like, it melts onto the wrist.
It does wear larger than your typical 38, 39 mil because it does have those big lugs, but because, like you said, they do articulate, they do mold to your wrist.
I also think because they're hollow,
Yes.
it's not like this big overbearing presence. Like, it's so cool.
This is full titanium, so titanium case. It's actually a titanium dial, and it's that blued titanium dial. Yeah, wipe those fingerprints up.
Well, it's because I put it on.
Blue. Don't get defensive. It's okay. You got a blued titanium dial with a random wave guilloche pattern, and then white gold studs that are meant to evoke, the reflection of stars on the surface of the ocean. Like, it actually works, though. It really does look like that.
What you guys are seeing really well is how dynamic it is.
Yes.
Because as you change the light and as you change the angle that you're looking at this watch, it really changes. It goes from like this bright electric blue to a very muted thing to you get purples in there. Like, de Bethune is a master of like finishing that you only notice when you can hold it in your hands in real life.
Yes.
The photos do not do this justice. There's so many watches they have like this. Even the polishing on the movement and everything like that.
What I noticed was
incredibly perfect
the polishing on the hands, Rob. So you get this beautiful high polished titanium handset with this like super distinctive style, which works perfectly. I think it pairs incredibly with the typography, the font of the indices on the that outer ring. I think it's like that contrast of that white with the blued center. Like, aesthetically, I love this thing. I think it is such a killer piece.
Fabulous.
Manual
and again,
wind.
I think the price is really good. I think to get like an independent watch, and Denis, or Denis Fagile, however it's supposed to be said, is brilliant. I think he is one of the if you're talking about modern independent watchmakers, he's right up there with Journe. His approach to chronometry and watchmaking is really, really high level. And I also love the fact that it's futuristic and it's modern, but it's also very easy to wear.
Super
like
wearable.
versus Urwerk MB&F, you can put that on and it's going to fit. So a stellar watch.
Yeah.
Really very cool.
That one's live on our website for $89.5, so go ahead and check that one out. That's another really killer one. And we're going to wrap it up with one more, another absolute grail level piece. This is a Patek 3945 1J with a Doré dial.
So many people will look at this and go, that is the strangest 3940 I've ever seen.
You're right.
And you're right. Except for the fact that it's not a 3940. This was a different reference unto itself, even though the dial and the movement are the same. So this is the 3945, and the interesting thing here is that for the 3940, the very original run of those for Bayer had these champagne-colored dials. And Papa Stern, well, I guess middle Stern, Philippe, because Henri was first.
I was going to say,
that he'd be the true Papa Stern. But Thierry's father, Philippe, who was running Patek in the 80s and the 90s, his 3940 had this dial on them. And I'm sure you know how many there are out there because you are our resident scholar.
Of the 3945, I don't know. But that being said, Doré dials are insanely rare. They only use them on complicated, the most complicated references in the late 80s, early 90s. It was like an 88 to like 92 or 94, something like that range. So 3940, 3941, 3945, 3970, 3971.
3970 with a Doré.
Right? So, and I was able to find numbers for, they made roughly 25 to 30, 3940 and 3941s with Doré dials. They made 10 3970s and 3971s with Doré dials.
That's why we've never seen one.
So, so if you play that out, the 3945 is significantly rarer than the 3940, and the difference obviously is that it's essentially a lugless 3940 with that integrated gold bracelet.
And it's so cool. It's like such an 80s chic kind of thing. And I think in the modern era, for a while, this just felt very dated.
Not anymore, though.
But I feel like this is okay now.
100%
I think this is okay. I would love to wear this.
This
is a boss watch.
It is,
in my opinion.
So I think a regular 3945 is a cool piece. But this in the yellow with the Doré dial to get that full monochromatic look. I feel like we've been on a run with these pieces like this recently. We had that the original AP Perpetual in yellow gold with the champagne dial.
Yeah.
We talked about the JLC Reverso, the new rose gold on the Milanese bracelet. It's kind of the same thing. It's coming back around. And again, that full monochromatic look with that classic dial, with those sunken registers, from the early 3940s, and then that really interesting woven bracelet with that clasp. Like, it just works. It's a monster watch. With
what an awesome tuxedo watch.
Hell yeah. Are you kidding me? Could you imagine?
With like the yellow gold knots.
I was thinking like a white dinner jacket with that and the whole thing. Like, it's nuts. That's also live on our website. The other thing that's incredible about this particular example is that it is complete, like, it is the fullest set I've ever seen. So box, booklets, papers, archive extract, all from Patek, and they all confirm Doré dial on the paperwork. Because that's, with a grail like this, that's this rare and this desirable, there are obviously going to be some out there that maybe a service dial was put on or a replacement dial or whatever it might be.
Dial was swapped.
Dial was swapped or whatever.
Back then, they would do that for people. It was a very different kind of scenario than it is now. Quick
note here. Cool Lava Reader asking what a Doré dial is. So Doré in French just means golden or gilded. So Doré is just, it's an internal Patek code that they used to refer to
basically champagne.
This color. It's more than, it's like a deeper, it's a richer champagne essentially. So just a gold dial essentially that was used for a certain period of time. So monster watch. Yeah. That is on our website. Go ahead and check it out. We're asking $395 for that one. So again, you're paying the cost to be the boss, but it is worth it.
Find another one.
It's the only one we've ever seen.
That's what I mean. Like, it's when you have something like that, it is more than the sum of its parts. It is the same as the Journe.
Yes.
You can't look at that and be like, oh, it's just a 3940 with a bracelet, so it's too much money. No, you can't say that.
Yeah.
Find another one with papers that match, with this level of provenance. Like, they're not out there. And the bracelet's plenty big. I could wear that. Yeah. It hasn't been cut too short.
Honestly.
Like, it's really a remarkable piece.
So that's just like a very small taste of some of the pieces and the caliber of pieces that we've put onto our site over the past couple of weeks. Like, if you haven't been paying attention, where the hell have you been? But jump onto our website and check out our new arrivals, because we have had like banger after banger going up live on the website. But there you go. Those are our new arrivals. Those are our picks. Let's move on, Rob.
Let's do it. And this next topic kind of flows on something that we were talking about in the last show. Mm-hmm. And I think that there's been a lot of talk within the watch industry about things like people being ousted in the case of
Stephen Forsey at Grubel.
Forsey, talk of JLC possibly exiting Richemont.
Yep.
A couple years ago, there was Journe with 20% stake to Chanel.
Yep.
And oftentimes, people are asking us, like, why don't people like Breguet? Why don't people like Blancpain? Mm-hmm. A lot of times, people are like, oh, is it because of the Swatch Group ownership? And so our question is, do you care who owns your favorite watch brand?
And this was spurred, I want to give credit where credit is due, this was spurred by honestly, a really excellent article that we published over on our blog. One of our star writers, Dave Sargent, put together this excellent post titled "Does It Matter Who Owns Your Favorite Brands?" And he just really dug into the differences between and kind of the way independents versus brands that are owned by conglomerates are perceived in the collecting community. He, spoke to a number of different people, got a bunch of different opinions, and Rob and I both read it and we're just like, that's a really interesting conversation. Yeah. And we kind of wanted to engage with you guys to ask, what do you guys think? Like, let us know. This is a perfect time to jump in the comments. We'll have Ben keep an eye on them. But do you care who owns your favorite brand? Do you only, go after independents, or are you okay with buying something from, a brand that's owned by a larger conglomerate?
So, thinking about Dave Sargent's article, mm-hmm. what I found really interesting was he talked a lot about how when you are buying a watch, when you're like acquiring a watch from a brand, mm-hmm. you're not only thinking about the watch, but you're thinking about the full experience of the watch and what goes along with that. You know, like, are you buying from a company where maybe you've conversed with the owner? Are you buying from a company where you've conversed with a marketing department? Are you buying from a company that is like speaking from an independent voice or not? And like, to me, I found that really interesting because it's like, are we thinking about this as like this object that you're going to wear and you want to make sure that you enjoy the experience? Or are you thinking of this more as like something that almost defines your personality?
So Kevin, why don't we throw, whenever you have a chance, let's throw up that chart that kind of will give you guys the lay of the land of what we're talking about. So if you're not familiar,
I guess I skipped that part.
You did. It's okay, Rob. I got you, buddy. There are a couple major groups that kind of divvied up over the years, the lion's share of the different brands. So you have Swatch Group that owns Blancpain, Breguet, Glasuta, Omega, some of the other small or some other brands, Longines, Swatch, etc. Then you have Richemont, that owns brands like IWC, Panerai. They own Lange, Jaeger, Cartier, Vacheron.
It's a heavy portfolio.
Very heavy portfolio. And then you have, the relative newcomer, LVMH, who owns Bulgari, Tag, Zenith, Hublot, and then there.
Pronunciation.
Thank you, Robert. I'm working on it so that people cannot give me crap, even though I did just say, what did I pronounce?
Jaeger.
Thank you. Yes, we'll get to that. Don't worry. And then Rolex and Tudor. I don't really consider that a group. And then there are your major indies. From Journe, Patek, AP. Richard Mille.
So you know what I think is really funny is I think that this right here, if you're going to come out and you're going to tell me I will only buy independent watches because independent watches have soul and whatever else you want to try to sell me on that, I am going to say, but Breitling is a major independent brand. Because that destroys that argument in my opinion.
No, but all right, so what I do agree with is that independents in general allow you to have a close, and when I say indie, I'm not saying AP, I'm not saying Rolex, I'm not saying Patek, because I don't necessarily think of them as independents. I think you kind of have to define that term a little bit where...
There's a big difference between an indie watch and a simply independent company, right? Because
so I think
nobody looks at Patek as an indie, but they are independent.
But I would call, Journe an indie. I would call, you do disagree with me?
Yeah, Journe is such a tough one because they're very mainstream. I think of Journe, like, to me, it's kind of like indie rock, right? Where like indie music is not mainstream music, right? It's like off to the side here.
Sure.
And an indie watch is like Bethune and MB&F and Urwerk and things that are like, and Journe to me is mainstream.
Maybe now, but only recently. Anyways, I do think that brands like MB&F, like Recep, like Voutilainen, brands like that allow you to have a more personal relationship with the brand itself than you can have with, say, Zenith, or you can have or you can have with even the bigger brands like Patek or AP, or you know what I'm saying? Like,
well, there's also such a different cost of ownership because you can have that relationship with Patek, but that level that you have to be at, where like Mr. Stern will take your calls, is very different. Versus like if you are ordering a Roger W. Smith, obviously you are spending at a level that is like up there, right? That's not a cheap watch. Same thing like Philippe Dufour or Voutilainen or whatever. You're going to work with these people on a much more personal level. But it's not like Patek where you would have to buy an awful lot to get there.
But there are also plenty of brands that are not at that price point. You have like the half step down, like Berneron. Then you have, multiple steps, down on the price ladder.
Shapiro.
I was just going to say Shapiro, I'm going blank right now, but there are plenty of other truly independent brands that you literally can have a relationship with the brand, and sometimes even with the guy whose name is on the dial, and you're able to create that connection with the piece in a different way than you are if you are just collecting Daytonas or Nautilus or whatever, even like crazy esoteric pieces from these bigger manufacturers. So I do think there is like there are some pros to, if that's what you're into.
Right.
I know personally the way that I collect is, like I've said it, like it has to be weird. I don't want to walk down the street and see somebody else wearing it. Even if I'm wearing, a Rolex or something, I don't want it to be, the newest one that I know somebody else, there's going to be 4,000 other people in Boston that also have that exact same watch. And just like part of that is because like I like to think of myself as like this special, interesting snowflake. But, it's just like, that's how I look at collecting. You know what I mean? So independents do kind of give you that connection and that feel. But there is something to be said for the brands that are owned by conglomerates as well. Like I love JLC. Mm-hmm. I love Cartier, obviously. Mm-hmm. I think there's also something to be said for brands like Zenith, like JLC, like Blancpain, like Breguet that probably wouldn't have survived if they remained independent. They wouldn't, or they did.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And that was a major thing in the article too, is that like ultimately, if you look at ownership as a business decision, mm-hmm. many times it is very sound and it makes a lot of sense and it creates a healthy company. Because at the end of the day, the other thing we all want is we want these companies to stay around to support these watches, right? And a great example was there was a gentleman in the store today with an Elaine Silverstein.
Oh, interesting.
Which is an awesome watch.
Yeah.
But that technically the brand doesn't exist anymore. And like, who's going to replace those hands? Mm-hmm. Like, I know there's a service center and I think there is still service for those parts, but like,
it's tough though.
That's a scary thing. If I own one of those watches, I'd be like, ooh, I'm worried about like if one of these hands gets messed up.
It's the exact same thing that happened with Journe, like we already talked about. When Journe sold 20% to Chanel, like that was like a controversial move that like people were up in arms about a little bit.
Yeah.
But it makes total sense because, looking at these brands from that perspective where you're trying to create continuity and support for your pieces, maybe after you as the watchmaker are gone or in 50 years' time,
right.
you want your buyers to have confidence in your pieces.
There needs to be that. If you're selling something that is heirloom quality, mm-hmm. then you need to be able to convince people that there will be support for this product down the line. Because it's not like you bought a painting and you're going to hang it on your wall and it's done and, and there it is forever and ever, amen.
Yeah.
These are mechanical creatures. They require service. There's no watch you can go without servicing unless you just don't want it to work anymore. So they need that support from the brand. And in many ways, I think, you need the brand to be consistent because what about Roger Dubuis?
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
They made absolutely fantastic, beautiful, stunning watches, but the brand as it exists now is not the same as then. And so it's like, and same thing with Daniel Roth. Like there's so many brands that were golden and now they're not, but now some of them are golden, some of them aren't. And it's like, anyway.
What did we just say?
What's the read in the comments? Ben, any interesting comments we should be drawn to? Or Justin?
I don't know.
All the people who have access and leaving me in the dark.
You're not allowed.
I don't know why. But that's the way it goes.
But anyways, let us know in the comments if you haven't already.
And if you haven't gathered, I'm kind of on the fence. Because
Rob doesn't want to pick a side. You don't say.
No, I have no problem buying watches from houses that are under major conglomerates.
I'm wearing a Rolex, dude.
I have no problem with that. Right, I own a Rolex. I own a Panerai. I have no problem with any of those things. I think independent watches are very cool, and I like the fact that they can take more risks. So, to me, it doesn't care. But I also I do think about companies and history and where they come from, and some of that does matter to me as well. So it's like, maybe it's a broader question. Maybe I don't actually care about who owns it, but I care just kind of about what the company's all about.
That is exactly where I was hoping we were going to get, because that was my closing point as well.
So it's almost I've delivered, is what you're saying.
We can Rob, just wrap it up, buddy. You're done for the night. Right. But for real, I don't necessarily care who owns the brand. I care about the ethos of the brand, how they, the pieces that they create, how they go about it, how creative they are, how interesting they are. Yeah. I don't necessarily care, who's on the board of directors of Richemont or whatever ownership group, whoever it is. I don't know what the hell we just talked about for 20 minutes, but there you go, guys.
I feel like it's one of those things you can debate all day long.
I also think it's like that's like peak watch nerd discussion there. Like
that's deep.
You're 90% of people who consider themselves watch collectors or watch fans don't care and probably don't even know the name Richemont.
No, I disagree with you there, though. I think people actually really do care, because what I was trying to say at the beginning, before I realized that I didn't set it up properly, was that a lot of times people look at what's on their wrist as a reflection of their personality, very much in the same way that like the clothes that you wear, the glasses you choose, like the car that you drive, all of this stuff becomes a reflection of some part of you, whatever part that is you want to show people. And like, how many customers do we have that are like, I will never buy a Rolex and I will never wear a Rolex because they make 1 million watches a year and that's what everybody buys when they make their first 40K and whatever, blah, blah, blah.
I know.
And it's like, sure, but it's also a tremendous, historically important brand, and it's one of the most recognized and trusted brands. And it's like, but why won't you wear that Rolex? Because of what you think other people will think of you.
Well, I was going to say, it comes down to, what do you like? Does it make you feel good? Do you smile when you put it on and you look down on your wrist?
That's really all that should matter.
All that freaking matters.
That's all that should matter.
All right. Let's give the next 10 plus minutes to close things out to reading to the comments section. We have had our popcorn ready. We have been reading all of the insane comments and some excellent comments that people leave on all of our videos. If you're not familiar, the internet is a wild place, and there are some people that should not have privileges. We went ahead and we
can't take away their internet driver's license.
That's true. I know, right? God. We went ahead and pulled some of our favorites over the past, from essentially the past 6 months. And we're going to go ahead and chat about some of these. So
let's get this party started.
We asked Kevin on the controls. There we go. Kicking it off. He's going to put them up totally randomly. Number 1 from OHMS, apparently from Montreal. And we did not edit these in any way.
Nope.
We did not fix any spelling, any syntax, anything. So these are fresh, direct from the mouth of our commenters. Number 1. 2 fake losers in a studio with borrowed watches and cheap suits, ? Nailed it. You nailed it.
I guess he's got a read on us. I mean, because I try these things on, I don't even wear a watch during the show, right? I do have one upstairs at my desk, but it's hard to wear one and then try these on.
They're not even borrowed. These are, we work for a company that sells watches.
We do?
I know. Believe it or not, we do. Somebody, I think some of our bosses might take issue with what I just said. But yes, so not...
Actually... We
there we go.
Upstairs.
Perfect,
and,
Rob.
We thought we appreciate your contribution and the fact that you have participated, but are you kidding me?
It's gonna be full? Are you kidding me? After all that prep, Rob. There we go. OHMS Montreal, thank you so much for your comment, Robert. Excellent job with the shredder. All right.
Filled it up.
Next up. Oh boy. Oh, this is my favorite one. I love this one. Hold on, I have it printed out, so I'm gonna read it from here. The dude in the cheap-looking blue suit has way too much jewelry on. A man should never have more on than a watch and a ring. That's it. More than that, you look like a person who is trying way too hard to look stylish. Plus, please, with no E, get a new suit, for the love of God. Fact is, the suit is horrendous, and too much jewelry does exactly the opposite of what you are trying to accomplish. Maybe ask yourself, why are you buying jewelry? It's either for trying to impress others and for your ego! ! And please don't give me that it's an investment. Servin12345.
The funny thing is that I'm pretty sure that your bracelet is not precious metal.
Dude, it's brass. This was a gift from my sisters, like 10 plus years ago. I wear a wedding ring, a family signet ring, and a watch. So, and also, thank you very much. And also, this is the terrible blue suit that is in this comment, and it is not a cheap suit. Robert can attest to it because one of our good clients made this for me. So, you know what? Servin12345. I will wear this. I will wear all of my jewelry and my blue suit with pride. There you go, buddy. Next up. Robert, take it away. Oh, yes, this is a good one.
Why does the guy with glasses close his eyes when he speaks? I hate everything about the guy on the right. Can't stand his face, his smug closed eyes face? His smug closed eyes face. Fire him.
I mean...
Zinc Skibbity.
Zinc Skibbity. Guy's got style. I mean, he knows talent when he sees it, and I don't think he sees any sitting next to me.
You know, I could have piled on. Mr. Cheap blue suit here, trying way too hard with too much jewelry, but no! I took the high ground, and now apparently it just makes me a smug,
I would never
closed eyes face guy, and I should be fired.
I feel like you need we need like a Clockwork Orange style
I was thinking like some
something.
Sticky tape. And just like, that'd be good.
All right, get rid of that one. All right, next up, we've got, oh, this is actually a good one. So this is one of those good comments that we like to actually talk about. So Big Screen Bird 8198.
I love these
screen names are great. Screen names, right? Handles, whatever the hell they call them these days. This AOL screen name. How does
a screen name?
How does 1,000 pieces make it incredibly rare? I don't think you know what rare means. All right, so this was in response to the Rolex 5100 Texano that we talked about. The piece that we were specifically discussing was a yellow gold with factory Florentine finish and a blue dial, which is insanely rare. In total, Rolex made 1,000 of the reference 5100, which for a brand that makes 1 million plus watches a year, less in the 70s when this piece was made, but
still a mass
producer of watches that has been in existence for well on almost 100 years now, if not more.
I am not going to speak to that because I will be wrong, because I don't remember things like that. It's been a long time.
I'm sure there'll be a nice comment about how I have no idea how old Rolex is, but
it should be in the notebook.
It should be.
Why is it not in the notebook?
Damn it! There are so many comments about me referencing my notes because, God forbid, I don't know everything about every watch we have in inventory. Anyways, but for real, 1,000 pieces from a major manufacturer like Rolex is quite rare. So. That's that one.
But I do agree that rare is way overused in the watch market right now, right? And you could have the discussion of, does rare simply mean it's hard to get? Mm-hmm. Does rare simply mean like it's hard to find? There's a lot of kind of nuance to that discussion, and so I appreciate that comment because I think it's valid.
Okay, well,
you didn't have to crumple that one.
Well, I still want to. I almost got it in the trash can. All right, next up, what do we got?
So this is also a really interesting and thought-provoking comment that I thought was, I wish we kind of thought about this.
Yeah.
And a couple of people, actually, another friend of mine messaged me to say the same thing. And this is from Jeff Taylor, 7216. I think that mid-tier watches have become boring and that the future is either micro brands or higher-end independents.
So this obviously stemmed from our discussion, I think, 2 weeks ago about where we talked about, is the mid-tier, kind of everything, but specifically of watches, is it going away? Is it dying out? And we kind of agreed, that, you can either get, lower end pieces or very high end pieces. And some people, rightfully so, gave us a hard time about how we defined lower end and higher end because we were talking about Tudor and Breitling and a lot of brands that are still quite expensive, but in the world that we are operating in, Breitling and Tudor and other pieces love it. Of that caliber, great pieces, but they are lower end compared to Patek and AP and FP Journe and Bethune and things like that.
And it's funny because there are some people who will be like, but that is the mid tier. And maybe to you and your particular budget, Patek is the mid tier, which bravo. So.
Yeah, right.
But I think the micro brand thing is really interesting because I think a lot of those micro brands have stepped up.
Agreed.
And have said, hey, there is a lack of interesting, cool stuff in this price point. So, hey, here's my watch.
Yeah.
And I think that is super smart. So a really good thought-provoking comment. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. And because of that, you became an airplane.
All right, next up, we have Oh, no, we have more, Kevin. That's all right. We can read them. That's all right.
Is that it? Oh, so it won't go on the screen, but that's okay.
That's okay. We'll read them. We'll have dramatic readings of these ones. All right, so next up from, I don't even know who the hell this is from, ANUKRW. Yeah, Nukrr. We got this a lot.
I was probably too smug.
What blows my mind is how folks like you, who are deep in the world of watches, pronounce Patek wrong every time. This is simply constrictive criticism, not constructive, constrictive, as in boa, constrictive criticism. And I hope it's not taken the wrong way. This largely applies to the American folks. Please, please learn the right way to say Patek, he spelled it P-A-K-E-K, and then in parentheses gave me the phonetic spelling of Patek.
P-A-A-T-E-C-H.
Robert, why don't you read this one before we both respond?
Forever Brooklyn, NYC. Hearing people choose to mispronounce Jaeger when I know they know the correct pronunciation is so distracting.
Okay. We get so much shit from all of you on the internet about how we pronounce the names of brands. I know that JLC pronounces their name Jaeger-LeCoultre, but with a frog in their throat. I know that, if I was gonna, affect a French accent, it would be Patek Philippe. I can't bring myself to affect a fake accent when I'm speaking like this, just to say Jaeger-LeCoultre.
What is more pretentious?
Exactly.
Right? Like, what is more, for us, it's like we just want to be authentic to who we are,
yes.
like on this show.
Yes, yes.
We talk about these things all day long. We deal with these things all day long. We live, eat, breathe, sleep, work, play, watches,
like
everything. That's all we do here.
Yeah.
It's not like we're also selling jewelry and diamonds. I don't know anything about diamonds. This is all we do. And we have the utmost respect for all of these brands and all of these houses.
Yes.
And as Americans and native English speakers.
And Bostonians for that matter.
Well, me transplant, but sure.
I won't even.
Jersey.
I was going to say I didn't want to disparage you, but
New Jersey.
This Jersey guy next to me.
It's like if you see it, you're going to say Jaeger, right? And could we say Jaeger-LeCoultre? Of course we could, but then people are going to be like, "Wow, you guys are such stuffy suits. Like, what is wrong with you?" Like, we're going to have the other half of the people on us. And the same thing. Like, yes, I know when you call them up, they will say, "Thank you for calling Patek Philippe," and they actually say Patek.
They do.
They don't say Patek. I think, same thing with like Richard Mille and all of that.
I do say Richard Mille. I don't say Richard Mille. Like, that's annoying.
Richard Mille.
I don't know.
Richard Mille.
I'd say clearly I have there's no rhyme or reason to what I do and don't pronounce.
Language is also like very fluid.
Yes.
Right? My last name is not pronounced correctly. And I'm sure there are German people who are like, "Why don't you say your name correctly?" Because it's too much work. And I'm not going to make people. We've never said our name with the German pronunciation. I don't intend to start now. And it's like, it's fine because I am an American person and I speak American, and people will say my name like Americans. So it's, for us, hey, you can't do that in here.
Come on. Have a little fun,
Rob. You're going to kill it with fire. Oh my goodness. You can't do that in here.
All right. All right. Actually.
But in all seriousness, whether you are being nice to us, whether you are continuing the conversation, whether you have chosen to be a keyboard warrior and assail our sense of style, our pronunciation,
our
whatever
looks.
It may be, we appreciate the fact that you are engaging with
I was
going
to say, hey, thank you for the engagement. We really appreciate it.
We'll take it.
But like not even being, snide or anything. Really, anybody that takes the time to look at us two idiots, maybe listen to us talk about stuff for a couple minutes. We really do appreciate it.
We do.
We've had an absolute blast, bringing the show back. I can't believe that we've been doing it now for 6 months.
Me neither. When you said that, it blew my mind.
Crazy. Super, super fun. Having you guys here every 2 weeks is huge. Like, we wouldn't obviously be able to justify doing this if you guys didn't tune in. So we appreciate it. It really does mean a lot to us. We were going to talk about whether or not you guys think Rolex is discontinuing the Pepsi GMT.
Push it. Let's push
we're going to push it
next week.
I know.
In the comments, which we will read, tell us.
Yeah, let us know.
Is Rolex discontinuing the Pepsi? Yes or no?
All right. We'll talk about that in 2 weeks. Thank you again for joining us. Have a great rest of your night. Have a great weekend. We'll see you guys soon.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
See ya.